Never seen a smile so big on my little old lady's face until I tell her I'm going fishing all weekend. Pack up all of my bait and I make plans for 7:45, then I swing around, pick up my date for the weekend. Some reason she seems to please when I'm leaving. There's something I'm missing when I'm gone fishing. When I'm gone fishing. When I'm gone fishing.
Yeah, baby.
Yes, sir. Well, good evening, CFN. How you guys doing? How's Jeremy doing? How's Manny doing? How's Richard Dunlop doing? Nice to see you, Classic, as well. Tricia, hope everything is well down your way. Adrian, nice. Always great to see you, my friend. Lloyd, especially yourself. I know you text me. I know you guys message me. For all those who have, let me just say it now. I have been on call. I've been extremely busy. There's been a lot of stuff that's been going on in CFN and OFC Nation land that we've been working on and getting ready for. So I apologize. I haven't been able to get back to you guys, but I'm hoping that, knock on wood, nothing happens tonight. I am on call. So if we do get a page, it is what it is. We will have our featured guest take over, and you guys can ask a million questions. But for right now, it's great to have you here. So glad you guys showed up. What's so cool about now? I don't know if anybody noticed it this morning, but especially this morning, when you got up, was it a lot brighter this morning than any other morning? Holy smokes, man. Talk about a change in time. Talk about an extended period of sunlight. Looking forward to this. I know everybody else is that hasn't been able to get out and wet a line yet. Yeah, that's me. I hope everybody else has had a chance. Have you been out fishing? I know, Lloyd, you've been out fishing with Alexander. Dude, that was awesome. And I think Alexander was holding some of those giants back. Just kidding. But it was awesome just seeing you CFNers out enjoying each other. John, how you doing? Have you been out fishing yet? Steve, I know you haven't, my friend. It is what it is. It is busy. It's busy here at CFN land. Lots going on. Lots going on. Absolutely, Richard. Great segue, dude. Yeah, provincial jerseys. We will be redesigning this for next year. We were hoping to get it done this year, but we will be redesigning the jersey slightly next year to incorporate our long devoted and beloved partners. So as I said, next year, you're going to see a new CFN jersey. You're also going to see something else too when it comes to the CFN signature series. So stay tuned to that. But holy smokes, look at all you guys. And with a beautiful day like today, oh man, I feel the love. Corey, again, dude, always a pleasure to see you, my friend. Love seeing you join us at whatever time it is. What is it? 5 out your way, 4 o'clock in the afternoon. Steven, pleasure seeing you. Alicia, yeah, baby. Erica's here. Ed's in the house. You are lost in the news feed. Hi, peeps. Yes, absolutely. We are lost in the news feeds. It's busy. I'm telling you, everybody's out fishing, man. Everybody's out wetting the line. We are living vicariously through you. John, you were out steelhead fishing? No dice? Well, you did as good as I did, but you know what? A for effort, my friend. A for effort. Michael Consul is going to be here talking about the CFN FishOFF and a whole slew of stuff. Yeah, Tony, buddy, I feel you, man. No fishing yet. As I said, sometimes we are handcuffed to work and what have you. No fishing yet, still frozen, Kevin, up in Elmer Lodge. I can imagine. We talk about that. It's actually a great segue to what I was working on Sunday, which I want to share with you folks because this is really cool. It is a partnership with Burning Baits and Mindful Fishing, which is an incredible initiative. We're going to be featuring a video that was put together by Christine Lapierre as well as Brian Sturch. We did a little behind the scenes video to get ready to for all of the initiatives and all the events that they're going to be holding this year. And something that's going to be really cool for our CFNers and OFC Nationers. If you want to get involved, if you want to donate, there's lots of ways to do so. And as I said, we will be mentioning that, describing it, and making it available to you. So stay tuned to that. It's quite a video. And yeah, I'll tell you, it's a great initiative for getting people out just on a day on the water to forget everything. And I know a lot of people are struggling with certain things that are going on in your life, and my thoughts are with you because I think everybody's got the I don't want to say skeleton in the closet, but they're all dealing with stuff. So, as I said, huge shout out to Christine and Brian for putting together this incredible initiative, and we're going to be showcasing it this week. So stay tuned to that. Of course, Moose will be on. I just saw him text. So hopefully he'll be on later to talk about the OFC Nation charity tournament on Balsam Lake, May 20th. It is going to be in conjunction with the Lunker Bowl that is put on by CSFL. So Moose, stay tuned. Hopefully Moose will be on here later. We'll be talking about that. Jay Barnews is not going to be joining us, unfortunately, tonight. He's en route back home, but he did want me to mention enjoy some quality time fishing with your mother this weekend, May 13th and 14th. Canadian residents can fish, Ontario license free. Need fishing gear? Borrow fishing equipment for free from one of our loaner sites, Tackle Share. And Alicia was on here talking about Tackle Share. I think it was two Mondays ago on the Ladies' Night event. So this is just a reminder again that Jay wanted me to pass along. And if anybody is up in the Wyerton area, Lewis for Lions Derby is currently going on. I believe it ends this weekend. We're going to be up there with our good partners and good buddy, Brad Powell from Powell Castings. I'm looking forward to spending a day looking at all the catches, seeing all the kids. If you go over to their Facebook page, you're going to see a lot of kids that have entered fish already. So Lures for Lines up in Wyerton. I look forward to seeing anyone and everyone that is there. And of course, it is not a Monday without mentioning, of course, our many retreats and our many events. This is yet another one, the 5th annual CFN retreat at Horwood Lake Lodge, just outside of the Timmins area. Love to see you folks there. And if you need, again, that little oomph to get you there, have a look at this teaser. Again, that is in August. I want you guys to reach out to Doris and Warren right now at Horwood Lake Lodge. If you are interested, if you're just not sure, at least book your butt to bed, and hopefully we'll get to see you up there one day. Absolutely, Ed. We will definitely see you there. Awesome to see some great, just fantastic comments of people that have been out fishing already. How you doing, Kevin? Nice to see you. Alicia I don't know how you ended up in that tournament, but I believe you were either 6th or 7th. Not sure how it all came to the end for you, but congratulations on a great standing, dude. Alicia, you represented us extremely well. We're very, very proud of you. That was phenomenal. But as I said, I've been too busy. I couldn't get caught up on Facebook to find out how you ended up. But it'd be awesome if you just threw a comment in here, give us a little synopsis of how the tournament went, how you ended up, and where you were in the standings, because I'm sure a lot of us that don't know would love to know. My personal best, I will try and catch my, Corey, you know what? Not everybody can say that here. Good luck with that 30-pound lingcod. They are delicious. Anybody ever had lingcod? Delicious. Eve was out. I saw you. You were holding up a walleye and a pike. So you've had a busy opener so far. And as I said, dude, we are living vicariously through you folks. It's awesome getting to see all of the edits that Walter and Steve are doing. And just a reminder, if you want something that's edited, or you want something that is featured on our CFN Facebook page, please go to the message button, click it, and it will prompt you to either put in a pic, a video, and please a description. Make sure you include the person that's holding the fish's name and maybe a backstory. Maybe they caught it on something kind of cool, something they've never used before. Make sure to add that as well. We look forward to seeing all of the stories and all of the shared journeys out on the water. Now it's soft water. Of course, that sun's really helping out, man. I'll tell you, having that extra bit of light. Of course, Camp McIntosh cannot do a Monday Night Live without mentioning the OFC Nation's 2nd annual retreat at Camp McIntosh. Please reach out to Andre and Tracy. Get your butt booked in a bed this September. And again, if you need a little bit of a teaser.
Where are you going, Don?
Camp McIntosh.
Yeah, baby.
There it is, Camp McIntosh again, September 22nd to the 24th. Hoping to see you folks there. It was a great time last year, as it is at Horwood each and every year. We love it. We can't wait to get back. It is the highlight of some of our summers. I know it's the highlight of mine. Both those places, I can't wait to go. Love to see you there. Alicia, thanks for putting this in the comments. Ended up in 66, sadly. Oh, that's too bad. Second day boater was not on fish. I was disappointed. He was sitting 207th and was not willing to burn gas, go fish the creek and behind weigh in hopes that fish would move in. That's 100%. You know what, Alicia? Good on you, girl. Awesome job. But yeah, you were high up there. I remember, for whatever reason, it was on the news feed. As soon as I clicked on Facebook, it took me right to where you were in the standings. And I literally thought, wait a minute, is this an elite event? Like this looks like the elite standings. Good for you. Absolutely awesome, Alicia. So no shame in that. A great experience. And it will remind you not to get hooked up with that boater next time around. At least hopefully that's how it happens. Yeah, you were 6. That's right. Sitting 6. That's awesome. Good for you. Girl. Fantastic stuff. Well, listen, I think that is it for announcements. We will be having Moose on at the end. I just saw him pop in. Mike is here also. They've got lots to talk about. But before we get to that, of course, our featured and beloved guests. Here comes the one and only Big Jim McLaughlin right after this. There he is, the one and only Big Jim McLaughlin.
What's
Jim,
going on?
I have a favor to ask.
Shoot.
I saw it when we were watching the Camp Macintosh teaser. One of our CFNers has fallen ill, and I'm wondering if you could do me a huge favor and give her a virtual Jim McLaughlin, the one and only. There's no other hug like a Jim McLaughlin hug, to Dawn Walters Shaw. She's sick as a dog. Steve is here, thankfully, and I would love to be able to pass on a Jim virtual hug to Dawn because she really could use it.
Yeah. Do one of these. My arms don't go there anymore.
Me either.
Hey, speaking of Steve, he came over to BJ's on the weekend and represented the CFN there.
Yeah,
it was nice. He put in a few hours there with us, and I think he rewarded himself handsomely with some trinkets from the store on the way out. I don't mean he shoplifted, like he bought some stuff on the way out.
I hope not. This just became a different show. Jerry.
He just wanted to get out of the house because of all the work going on.
Right. Yeah. Well, we'd love to see Steve on the water a lot more than he is doing what we love to do, but we are busy. It is a busy land, and you are a busy man as well. BJ was quite an event. Many people show up. Was it a good crowd? Any good takeaways?
Until like 1 o'clock, it was a madhouse.
Wow.
Like, I mean, that's a little shop. That's like the ultimate mom and pop shop, so to speak.
Yeah.
And man, there was times when there was 3, 4, 5 people at the cash in a row, and just the place was just loaded.
That's awesome.
Mr. Mahoney came out for a while.
Nice.
Got behind the counter, sold some reels, stuff like that. So not too often do you get a guy who works for a company that is prestigious as Shimano is, and is in charge of all their bass fishing personalities. So like he's in charge of all the elite guys, Gussie, all these guys, everybody. That's Bernie Schultz, all the guys that we have. Me too. And here he is standing behind the counter selling reels at a local shop, So I just think that's pretty cool. That's just something else what Shimano's all about.
It's a grassroots. We talk about it all the time. Like, again, being what I would think the elite of the industry, when Mike and I first approached Bob, and I didn't think necessarily that Shimano, no offense, would have given us a sniff, and loved the idea, loved the concept. And I'll tell you, Jim, everything that you have told me about Shimano came true that day. And I'll tell you, it has been a great relationship ever since. And I'm hoping, like it has for you, it continues for a very, very long time.
I told you, it's over 40 years for me now. And, and I mean, you look at it this way too. So tomorrow morning they phone me, someone new takes over in North America, and they phone me and say, hey, look, see ya. We've decided that for whatever reason, you're not going to be here anymore.
Yeah.
What would I do? Would I go use Daiwa or Abu or whatever, There's nobody is ever going to look at me, even if I had, like Rapala written across my chest, Rapala or Lucky or 13 Fishing on my chest, or whatever, one of the brands that's out there now. They're still not going to relate it to me. They're going to be talking to me, and they're going to be saying, I mean, I still talk to guys now. Bob Azumi's been gone from Shimano for a long time now, and I still have guys say to me, oh, yeah, I never see you fish with Bob anymore. You guys don't seem to get together as much. Then, well, we're not quite in the same circle anymore because it's different,
Yeah.
And they don't realize that he's not a Shimano guy anymore.
Yeah.
That's how strong it is when you get branded with something, it sticks with you.
It's true, and to me, as I said, and this isn't a slight against any of the other companies or trying to be disrespectful, but when you think of some of the elite in the industry, it's hard not to associate Shimano with those individuals. So I get it. I totally understand it. And again, tip of the hat to Shimano for their continued support of not only yourself, Jim, but what we're doing. And I just wanted to mention, Don feels so much better. You can go now. You can go. Now, outside of BJ Tackle and the events that you're on, and of course, I'm sure your hands are extremely tired from tying jigs because this is your time of
seems to be all I've been doing. I tell you, you hear me joke about it, the hobby that got out of hand, you know?
Yeah.
So it's all I've done for the last week again here now. Just, I get up in the morning.
There it is, Jim. Yeah, there it is. You take over, buddy. She's all yours. I'll be right back.
Give me the other guy too, so we can chat.
All right. Hopefully
Hey,
he's there.
so the comments come up. He's
I'll
off
do
his
that.
job.
I'll do that for you. Yeah, absolutely.
I'm getting the dog to help me out.
This will be entertaining.
Lawrence dyed his hair. He's there. Oh, you're back?
No, I gotta go. I'll be right back.
So I forgot what we were going to talk about. I'll be okay. But I got to talk to you about something that's really special to me that I eventually got. In fact, I was talking about Bob Mahoney being there, and he got something last week on Thursday, and I got them on Saturday. Now, this is not what it's going to look like, but that's Shimano's new fluorocarbon. And I got to tell you, they worked on this for a long time, and it's something. And Scotty said to me when we talked earlier here, when you look at the roll, let me get it here. See, when you look at it, you can't even see how smooth it's wrapped on there. And he said to me, it looks like a Scotch tape. It's so smooth. There's so much to it. It's just absolutely incredible. But one of the cool things about it, and it really blew my mind, was how limp it is. That's 10-pound fluorocarbon. It's just limp. It's got no stretch, just little weeny stretch in it, little teeny touch. That's it. And I mean, I'm jacking that. That's pretty good. But the cool thing about it, see on the box, there's a little thing here that says Nano Armor. I was really curious about that when I saw it, so I went and I researched it. What it is in the line. This stuff was, when they made this, when they extrude it, it's so slick on the outside because they're using the highest quality material that they can find, or that's available in the world. Period. The highest quality material that's available. And what Nano Armor is it's when they tied knots with it, it was slipping a little bit. Like not often, but it did slip in their tests, and that's why they don't test something 10 times or do a one-man survey, because that's like the worst thing in the world. That's why they try it like how many tens of thousands of times. And the odd time it would slip, even if the knot was tied correctly. So what they did was they came up with this thing, and what it is, it's at the molecular level. You can't see it with the human eye; it's impossible. But what it is, when the line is there, and you tie a knot and you cinch it down, it creates little bumps in the surface, like they're below the surface, I should say, and they stick through. So when the knot tightens down, it's sort of as if you roughed up the outside, so it can't slip. And I mean, when we see stuff getting like that now, that's pretty scary when you get stuff like that. What do you think of that, Michael?
Hey, that is cool.
Yeah.
One of my worst feelings is when I catch a monster and it's not the line that snaps, but it's my knot that fails. And I feel like, oh, it's all my fault.
Yeah.
I don't know if you ever felt that way, Jim.
It happens. I had it happen. I think it was back in 1993. But no, that's something, man. That's like a thing of the past. And I learned something from a guy I fished tournaments with in the year 1990. When I think of it now, and I know that because it was the second time I won the Classic. A guy from Pennsylvania called Tourney, who used to have a summer home on the Big Rito, which is about an hour as the crow, or 45 minutes as the crow flies here, straight north from my place. And we were fishing a tournament on the Ottawa River, and it was the first time I had ever fished with him in a tournament. We'd fished in the boat and a few times and stuff like that together. And I said to him, "Hey, there's a tournament in the Ottawa River on the weekend down by Montreal. Do you want to go fish it?" He said, "Yeah, I'd love to." So we paid our $300 or whatever it was back then. It wasn't as much, and we went down and we did our thing. And he's sitting in a hotel room on a Friday night. We're rigging and getting everything ready. And he ties a knot. We had decided we were going to probably fish two things extensively. One was a spinnerbait on big wood flats where there was, on the Ottawa River, there's places where there's a lot of stumps from when they flooded it for the hydro dams. And yeah, knots been there. Yeah, no doubt about that. We've all done it. And the ones who haven't done it are liars. So that's what it is. But we were going to fish spinner baits on these big flats that are 6, 7, 8 feet deep, and they've got massive old willow stumps that were cut off just below the water before they flooded it and stuff like that. I found a load of fish there in the week. I practiced for 3 or 4 days, and in some mats and stuff. So we were doing Texas rigs. So he ties on his Texas rig, ties on the big worm hook, 4-aught worm hook, triple strong, and he pulls it as hard as he can, and the line breaks. And I looked at him and I said, "You did that 2 times in a row. You're just trying to see how strong the line is." He says, "No, it broke both times because I didn't tie the knot right." And I looked at him and I said, "Do that again." And so he tied the knot again. I got the hook. I put the hook on over the needle nose plier handle so I could have it to hold on to it already full. Put the line around my hand, and I pulled it as hard as I could, and I couldn't break it. And he looked at me and he said to me, "That's a good one." And I said, "So you're going to put the knot under that much stress and then go and fish with it?" He says, "Yeah, it's not going to break. The ones that broke were going to break as soon as you got a big fish and tried to yank it out of the wood or out of the weeds or whatever, And this is what fishing is. It's about learning little things from everybody along the way, and it's so important. Best knot, I tie a Palomar, Richard, in almost everything I do. Almost everything I do.
Mike, thanks so much, buddy. Appreciate it.
What about when we're going from? Oh, you're welcome. Last question, Jim. What about when you're going from braid to your leader? What knot do you suggest for that?
Just a granny knot. No. JP would be so proud of me. I'm trying to learn to tie an FG knot. I'm not a knot guy. I just tied a double clinch, but I usually have the way I am at tying knots, how meticulous I am. I have never in my life had a knot going from braid to fluorocarbon braid. Now I lie. I've had them break when it's snagged. I get a snag and I applied pressure off the deep end because I might be fishing with 10 or 15 pound braid, 6 pound fluorocarbon. So the fluorocarbon is going to break first, and it's usually I don't look that close, but you'll see the knot come back, so the fluorocarbon broke, but at the knot. But Palomar knot across the board does the job for me. It works, and it's a simple knot to tie too. I know when I first learned to tie it wasn't simple. It's like all the knots, they look pretty hard. But something I'm going to get into this year is snelling my hooks on for Texas rigs. Learning, I know how to tie a snell knot, so I'm going to do it for Texas rigging. A lot of the guys in the States are doing it. Apparently, it's superior. It's not that my knots are breaking, but they're talking about just the way the whole thing sits. It just keeps it all in a much straighter line, and the knot doesn't move around on the eye of the hook. Now, I thought that might be really interesting for presentations where you're using something that's you want your like for a drop shot. Well, it's almost impossible to do with a drop shot, but where you want your hook to stick out, it would hold it out more. It's hey, good. Yeah, you've been doing it. Eh? Yeah, cool. Yeah, it's something that's been out there for quite a few years now, and a lot of the bigger guys in the States are doing it and actively, doing little blurbs on YouTube and stuff where they're showing you how to do it. It's pretty simple once you get it. So if I can figure it out, you can.
I will say this, Manny. I've asked this question of Jim many, many times. What is your all-time braid to fluorocarbon knot, Jim? You're the one that got me onto this.
The double clinch knot. It's what I use. Yeah, it's all knots are good to a certain degree. No knot is 100%, but because you're bending the line so much. But I'm a firm believer that all knots are really good if they're tied correctly. And I've sat in a boat guiding guys that are pretty good fishermen, they don't fish tournaments or anything like that, but they know how to catch fish and they're out there. They want you to teach them more. And I won't hesitate to tell them, see that knot you just tied? And I take the line and go, and I break it. And I can tell just by watching the knot form and things like that, that's going to happen. So it does not hurt to check your knot. Sit at home some night, tie a dozen. Just make sure when it forms, it goes down. Yeah, the FG knot for sure. the low profile on it. But like I say, it's to each his own. If you're having trouble, look at your knots closer. Maybe try tying something different, because then you'll have a lot more confidence in it too. Because there's nothing worse than when you're fishing and you have no confidence in what you're doing. You've heard me tell the story about me fishing with Chong and saying to him in the boat, "I thought you were fishing with braid." And he said, "I am." And I said, "What do you mean?" And I look up and all I see is fluorocarbon. And he looks at me and he said, and like he says to me, "Yeah," he said, it's already gone on the reel. I said, "How long of a leader are you using?" And he said, "Oh, 12, 15, 16 feet. So when the fish gets close to the boat where all the stress is put on it, the knot is already on the reel.
Yeah.
It's not in play, because it's always at the side of the boat that they go under and your line breaks. You never see your line break when he's 40 feet away from the boat, because there's all the give of the rod. There's that little bit of stretch. Even in fluorocarbon, there's a little bit of stretch. Like anybody tells you there's no stretch in fluorocarbon, they've never taken fluorocarbon and pulled it, because there is a little bit of stretch, but it's minute compared to mono. Piece of mono, you take it and you go like this with it, it's like a bungee cord. But but it's
I have to ask Jim, now that you've mentioned that, like your hook set, and of course it's infamous, it's something to witness if you ever get a chance. Did it change at all depending on the line that you used, whether you had braid, whether you had fluorocarbon, whether you had mono? Did your hook set?
Like I don't get anywhere near as wound up now setting the hook
Right.
with braid. And the other thing too, that people, they always talk about line and setting the hook. I think the rods we have now, like the rod that I'm using now, I'm using a Loomis 7'11" rod for my flipping. And once again, there's where I took a tip from another pro staff. I was going to get the 7.6, and he looked at me and he said to me, "Jimmy, look at you, look at me." I said, "Well, yeah, far better looking. I got a lot more trophies than you." No, it's my buddy Steve. And he looks, Barnett, who's won a Renegade Classic and all kinds of tournaments and stuff. And he looks at me and he says to me, he says, "Look how tall you are. Use the longer rod. You got a lot more leverage." Because longer rods are 99% of the time better. They allow you more leverage to keep slack, the velocity to set the hook. There's a whole bunch of things that help. So, and I mean, like if I'm fishing with 20, 25 pound test fluorocarbon, you set the hook, like a lot more than I would with braid.
Yeah.
And once again, too, if I'm using mono, I won't hesitate. But then again, you get me up, like you saw last fall when I'm fishing the rattle baits. I don't know whether you were surprised that I would set the hook pretty hard.
Yep.
But that's because I was using a line that's a cross between fluorocarbon and mono. It's like this. The lure's a long way away. I got treble hooks. You want to get, plus the rod is so flexible. You got to take the flex out of the rod, then you get the boom of the hook set. So you need to do it. It's one of those things. And it's like you hear me say it all the time. It's all these little things that make the difference.
Yeah, and as I said, I've had the luxury, and I haven't near fished with you as much as others have. But the one thing that I have noticed, when you're fishing, you're focused. It's like watching, a well-revered golfer. It might be hard to watch him walk onto the fairway or whatever, but when he swings that club, it's like watching you set a hook. It doesn't matter how you get there. It's once you're there, you know exactly what to do. And it doesn't matter that you're the age that you are now. When you have a fish on the end of your line, it's like you're 18 years old again.
Yeah, thanks. If you look at those less than happy looks on my face after I set the hook, it's me waiting for all the pieces of my body to go back into place so I can reel the fish in. Looking in the water if I heard a splash to see if something fell off.
Well, I'll tell you this: when Jim would say, "Here we go," and you would grab the gunnels because you knew the boat was going to do one of these.
But no, and I'm a lot told me if you think I'm focused now, people used to complain to me sometimes in the boat that I never talked, and it's because I was focused, especially when I was fishing like weed.
Yep.
My head would be like it was on a swivel. I was doing this all the time. My lure might be over here, but I was looking for the next target in the weed where I was going to drop it in. Was there Was there? I mean, one of the key things I always look for in milfoil is I look for a hole, because it means there's probably a rock or a boulder or a patch of sand where we can't. There's something going on. There's a reason. There's a hole there, and there's it's things like that that you look for and you have to find. But I just using your eyes when you fish is so important. It's so important.
100%.
Like sometimes Rocky and I would be in a boat and we wouldn't talk for so long, and one of us would say something, and the other one would jump. Like, because
That's hilarious.
that's how focused you are. It's one of those things, and that's why I often make the joke about the two highly tuned professionals in the boat. We're fishing on Kuchicheng one day, and this young lady went by water skiing, and she was a sight to behold. She was a long distance away, but we were a lot younger back then. And the both of us are like this in the boat, eh? And we come back and we start fishing again. And he looks at me and he goes, I can't see my lure. I said, set the hook. And he set the hook, and it was a topwater, and the fish had eaten the topwater, got it stuck in his mouth. And it was like a 4.5 pound fish that we really needed.
Wow.
So you got to stay on top of it.
And you and Tammy have been married ever since.
Yep.
That's awesome.
Wait, did you go downstairs tonight?
Tony, I have to agree. Yep, double uni knot would be my choice. If I just only because I know how to tie that. I've always used the uni knot to pretty much tie just about everything. But the double uni knot is definitely a great way. So
it works for me. I mean, if I had it start to break, I may go. JP would be happy. Then I would go sit with the line and learn to tie the FG.
Yeah.
But and some of these things too are not quite as important to me as they used to be. When I was trying to win 20 or 30 or 50,000 bucks, it's a whole different game. It's a whole different game. I mean, yeah, when I'm going out, I've got a bunch of rods that I'll use at certain seasons and things. Like the other night, I was down here in the back crappie fishing, and I thought to myself, I haven't retied this in a while. So I throw out the little spinner I was using, one of those little Great Lakes belly spins with one of Jamie's little. I put one of those little mayfly things on it there with all the. I think I brought them up.
Yeah, they are.
Yeah,
cool. They are
these
cool.
little things here with all the legs on them.
Yep.
And I was putting them on, because I ran out of the other ones that I was using, and I thought to myself, when I bring it in, I got to retie because I haven't retied it for a couple of nights. Now that's like an hour's use, but it's only on 4 pound test line. I bring it in. I'm bringing it in. Bunk. I see the line jump. I set the hook at a crappie about probably 9 inches or so. I swing them up over the edge of the seawall. This was before the water came up. It was just at the top of it. I slide him up over it. As he's coming toward me in the air, the line breaks.
No.
And hey, I'm pretty swift for an old guy. I caught him out of the air.
You're out.
In the frying pan for you, buddy. No, I put him. I put him back in. But the other thing that happened the other night, I think I mentioned to you. I was down there. Believe it or not, I caught a crappie. I put it on a scale and I weighed it. It was 4.5 pounds. 4.5 pounds. Now, I looked at the fish and I thought it was a pike, but he looked at me and he said to me, "To make your night, I'm identifying as a crappie tonight." So I'm ecstatic. I'm good. I'm good. Anybody else on here catch a 4.5 pound crappie this week?
I tell you, Jim, you have not lost your wit one bit, buddy.
Where am I? What night's this?
Yeah, exactly. That is absolutely awesome. One question I did want to ask. Oh no, it wasn't there. No. I forget what the question I was going to ask. You had me sidetracked the minute when you went on the rant of the 4 pound crappie. Oh, I know. When it comes to those baits, creature baits, what is the best time of season, like best time of year to use those? Anytime?
You mean the little ones here?
Yeah, the ones you just showed.
Anytime,
eh? See, I've heard varying advice. Some will say you got to wait till the end of May into June in Ontario. When the water temperature gets up past 60, that's when a lot of these invertebrates and what have you come out. Any What's your thoughts with that, Jim? No.
They eat stuff they see.
Yeah.
You know, when we went to Florida years ago, first time Shimano ever took a bunch of us to Florida, and I got to fish with a guy that was just a wonderful guy. His wife was awesome too. We got to fish in all these places, really fancy places and everything. It was just incredible fishing, and we had such a great time. And we all went down there, and we brought a box of jigs and other plastic and stuff like that. And the guy looks at us and says, "Oh, that's a flipping jig? Yeah, you're only supposed to use that when the water's cold. You don't use that in Florida." And like, we're looking at each other like, well, what do we know? We've never fished in Florida. So we didn't use them. And then we went to one spot. It was in this little river, just a beautiful place. Shoreline's just lined with crocodiles, alligators, whatever they are. They're big, got lots of teeth, Try to get in the boat. But they'd follow the fish. And we had several slam right into the side of the boat. Got like their bottom of their jaw was on the edge of the boat. Beating them with the rod. Get down, boy. Down. Thanks. But it was kind of scary. I laugh about it now, but it was kind of scary back then when we hadn't seen them. They meant nothing to Nick, eh? But he tells us this. So we're in this place and we're not doing very well. So I go in my bag and it's just Wes, one of the guys that was with us. I looked at him and I went, well, here, I got a jig here. If I got a jig here, I look at him and I got the jig out and I go like this, and he goes. So I throw him a jig and ties it on. First pitch, he gets like a 7-pounder.
Oof.
Out of some bulrushes. So I immediately back in the bag and get another jig. And then by the end of the day, all three of us are fishing with jigs in the boat, just knocking the snot out of the fish. And, that's just how things come about. A jig was something that you didn't put on till the water temperature went below 55 degrees, 58 maybe, if you were a real, daredevil.
Yeah.
And you had to put a piece of pork on. God forbid you put a piece of plastic on.
I remember that.
Plastic, when it was cold,
my
God, they won't eat it.
Yeah.
You won't touch it, like whatever. Now what do we use for ice fishing? 3/4 of the stuff we put down the hole is plastic.
Exactly. It's so true.
It's just a matter of learning. That's so all true. It is.
Jim, it sounds like we need another virtual hug. I didn't realize that Luke Northmore is under the weather, but of course.
Yeah, Luke was feeling a bit fuzzy there, I guess.
Oh no!
But I got hopefully he's good because I got him. He's going to come with me on May 23rd down to fish with Captain Greg there.
Greg Emile, yeah. Yeah,
down in the Bay of Quinte.
Right.
If you play your cards right, I might give you a call. But we'll, check up your sleeve there. I gotta watch you. You're like one of those guys in the old cowboy bar.
No, not me. You got
cards
the wrong
falling
guy.
out from underneath us. Oh, where'd they go?
Jim, as always, dude, thanks so much for joining us Monday. Thanks for taking the lead. Mike, again, thanks for stepping in. As I said, it is a team effort, and we would be nothing without you, Jim. It means the world to have you you eat here each and every Monday, and we can't thank you enough.
I'm just a schmuck in the crowd, buddy.
Buddy, you are the best looking schmuck I've ever seen.
Oh, I've heard that said before.
Lawrence Gunther's coming on next, right after this word.
When it comes to Canadian food, we've got your back with flavors like lemon pepper, beer batter, campfire barbecue, lemon pepper dill, garlic butter and chives, and crispy Cajun. We've got a mix for every meal. Whether you're serving East Coast shrimp, West Coast salmon, succulent walleye, chicken wings, or veggies, we've got you covered. Coat your food in outdoor flavors. Available online or at these fine retailers.
Lawrence Gunther in the house.
Hey, buddy, can you hear me okay?
I can hear you just fine. You look like you've been busy. Have you been busy all day doing something?
Oh, my God. Yesterday and today, just in the front lawn, my wife decided last year that she didn't want to have grass on the front lawn anymore. So we're taking all the sod out and replacing it with bird and bee friendly native plants. Right? So
interesting.
Yeah.
You're doing your part to make sure and ensure the livelihood of the bees. Well, I'll tell you, maybe there's not enough of us out there doing. Is it? What does it look like when it's all done? Does it just look like overgrowth? What does it look like?
Well, it's a collection of medium height, low height shrubs ground coverings, grasses, different types of grasses and ground coverings, and a few smaller, medium-sized trees. So nothing, and some fruit trees like cherry trees and things like that. So anything that generates sort of food for the birds in the late season, and just all native plants. So because if you're going to do this, if you're going to create a sort of a naturalized zone in your yard, there's no point bringing in plants from different parts of the world or different parts of Canada or the United States or wherever, because the animals and the bees and the birds that live around us they're going to look at that and go, what the hell's that? It's not food to them. It may be food, but it's not food to them, and you're never going to get them to eat it. So you got to be careful when you think you're creating these sort of naturalized habitats for the birds and so on. You gotta get food that's relevant to them, right? It's stuff they recognize, like you and me, Big Macs, right? Hamburgers. There's no, but it's that simple. It's that simple, and there's all sorts of great information being put out. But if you work with a good nursery, they'll point you in the right direction. But you also have to do your homework, because they're always going to try to upsell you onto some weird, this is the plant of, this is the tree of the year, this is the fashionable tree. And they had some weird $400 little trees, and just like, what the hell's got? What's the point of that thing? That's just some sort of hybrid nonsense. But so far, I'm into it for $500 and a lot of sweat equity. I got 6 cubic yards of topsoil showing up tomorrow, a cubic yard of stone dust. So that's the next step.
Well, I'll tell you, buddy, as Luke is just, what kind of show is this? Birds and bees? Yeah, we're not going to get into biology, I'll tell you, Luke. Don't worry about that. None of us want to talk about that, but that's interesting. It makes sense, though. I never thought of it, but it makes sense. Why plant something that, although may be considered food, it's not considered food for our native insects and birds? Wow.
Yeah, and if you think about shorelines, right? Like, I'm really into the shorelines thing. We're working with a lot of environmental groups that are focused on shorelines and naturalizing shorelines. And, this is where life begins, right? Where water and land meet is the cornucopia of life. If you think about your childhood, where did you want to go? You wanted to go right to the shoreline, right there, get your feet wet, walking up and down the shoreline, because that's where you saw all the life.
Wow. Is this this got to be a segue into something, man?
It is.
Yeah, I knew it.
So I just want to mention that the International Game Fish Association Passports program, it's reached over 20,000 youth, over 40 different countries. Bluefish Canada is the Canadian representative of the IGFA passport program for youth fishing and outdoor conservation training. They provided us with some amazing hands-on training material. We've got appointments booked every weekend in June, all around Eastern Ontario. And I think so far we're estimating 500 youth in these different one-day events, calling it Get Ready for Fishing. And then we've got the Ottawa Fish School. This is a program that we started in partnership with the Ottawa River Muskie Factory and John Anderson, and it sold out in 48 hours. We're doing 6 weeks this year. It's $500 per kid for 5 days of fishing instruction, and Bluefish Canada does 1 day of that, and we sold out 16 kids per week. Sold out within 48 hours. This is put on by the Dover Court Community Center. They put on all sorts of summer youth programs, for kids that need something to do. And this is their most popular program they've ever been involved with.
Holy crap, man! Why there was never anything like this when I was a kid?
I know, we need it.
This is like summer camp for anglers.
It is, and we're bringing the youth to 5 days, 5 different locations. The last day is on the Ottawa River, fishing for catfish, walleyes, bass, whatever's around.
And so you're full. If anybody were to find out a little bit of information, maybe for next year, where would they go? Could they find it on Bluefish Canada or
look at, just Google Ottawa Fish School. And
Fish School.
Yeah, and I'm not sure the date it'll go on, but we also have a couple kids in each program each week that are as with a scholarship. So, you know, it's inclusive to all children, and that's something we're really involved with too. Is we want to make sure it's fully inclusive. So we're bringing Braille, large print material as well for people with kids with visual disabilities. And we're working, you know, closely with the CNIB on that. We've been working closely with the CNIB for 20 years on delivering fishing programs to low vision, blind, and deaf blind kids. And I personally, I find I get the most inspiration when I fish with a bunch of deaf blind people. It's just they get fishing, right? They get fishing. You think about it, man. Like you think about it. You can't see or hear. You know, you put a fishing rod in their hand, and all of a sudden they're connected to wildlife through the fishing rod, right? It's absolutely amazing.
That is, man. Holy, I don't know if I'm the only one, but man, that sends like shivers.
Yeah,
that is grassroots. That is raw, man. I'll tell you, and it is probably such a highlight for these kids. I mean, and is it the same kids or is it new kids that go out and do this? Like,
well, it quite often it's the same ones, and I've got to know them over the years. You know, over 20 years, I've watched them grow up and become, you know, very proficient anglers. And there's always new ones coming, always new ones. You know, so it's always this is the program that we run out of the Lake Joseph Center out of Perry Sound on Lake Joe. It's the CNIB Lake Joseph Center. It's a beautiful, beautiful facility there. And we've had some tremendous support from Shimano with the fishing rods, and Lund Boats and Mercury with a beautiful 18-foot Lund Alaskan. They donated, fully equipped. Humminbird donated the fish finders and trolling motor for that. And just amazing. Bass Pro Shop's been, you know, stocking up the tackle box every year. You know, it's just amazing.
Smokes. And are you the host? Like, how does this?
Yeah, I put that program together. I was the chair of the advisory committee for the Lake Joseph Center for 6 years, and we just finished rebuilding it. The camp was built originally in 1950, and then it got condemned. So the lounge and kitchen area was condemned. So we had to shut the place down. We went around hat in hand. There's a lot of very prosperous people that have cottages on Lake Joseph. Within several weekends, we had raised $7 million to rebuild the whole facility. So by next year, we're up and running again. It's astonishingly beautiful. Like as a resort, it's just, and the Lions clubs step up and fully equip this place with every possible water toy you can imagine.
And how many years has this been going on now, Lawrence?
It's just celebrated 75th anniversary, so it's been around for a while. You know, back then, blind children were taken from their families and put in residential schools, and it was the only place where they could get an education. And this ended in the 1980s, where Ontario passed a law saying, you know, that schools had to accommodate children with disabilities. They couldn't just say no, you can't come here. And but for these kids, you know, they lived at the residential school from September to June, and then they went home to families that didn't know them, and they had no friends, and they spent 2 months of just isolation at home, nothing to do. So they have this camp where they could go to the camp for a week or two and meet up with their friends and have a great experience. That's why we built the camp. And it's amazing how many blind and deafblind and low vision people actually met their spouses there and went on to have families of their own. And I'm talking, you know, now second, third generation of blind people, right? That coming from, you know, families and, you know, through inherited diseases, but to them, it's not an issue. You know, that's their life. It's normal. So it's, this camp still exists. You know, most kids now go to regular schools, and but you know what Lake Joe offers that you don't get anywhere else. You get customized, highly trained counselors that know how to work with blind, deafblind, low vision people. You get equipment that's modified to meet their needs. You don't necessarily find that at other camps. So And we let the blind, low vision kids bring a sighted friend. If they want to bring a sighted friend, a sighted brother, sister, cousin, friend, they can, because they're sharing a room, and it makes it more interesting for them to come if they can bring a friend, right? So, anyways, there's going to be a big TV campaign starting later this year on Lake Joe, and so it'll be on television, CTV mainly. You'll get to see some images of it. How astonishing it is! I'm very proud of it.
And dude, as you should. I'm speechless. I don't even know what to say, because I knew this school existed. Didn't exactly know where it was. I knew they offered water sports, and it was like a camp for those who had disabilities. I know there's lots of them. Well, I shouldn't say lots of them. There's some of them out there. I didn't realize. Wow, dude, I'm blown away. Good for you. Good for the organization. Good for the counselors. And what would be interesting to know, Lawrence, is how many generations of family members have gone and continue to return.
Well, in 1983, I went there and worked as a senior counselor. 1983, right? So that's like 40 years ago, and I met my first wife there. So
wow,
yeah. She was sighted. She came with she was working at a group home of adults who were developmentally delayed and blind. And they brought the members of the group home to the Lake Joe for just a change of pace, And so it was life altering for me. Like, I was registered blind when I was 8, but I still had really high function vision. I never used a white cane or a guide dog, even when I was working up there at age 20. I never had a white cane or a guide dog. I could do everything I needed to do just by looking out of the side of my eye. I had peripheral vision, and that's disappeared over time. But just to be involved with that, and I always kept that Lake Joe. I had a sweet spot in my heart. And I when I was working at Industry Canada and I was running the web accessibility office there, I brought internet to Lake Joe for the first time, and a bunch of workstations there, fully accessible workstations, and I helped them hire people to teach blind people how to use computers, talking computers, the internet, and all that stuff. So that was back in 2000, 1999, 2000, 2001, and then to be asked to take over the board in 2006 when it had to be rebuilt and really sort of give the camp. Okay, what is it going to be? Now that kids go to regular school, now we really have to step up the game. It's not just a place for reunions anymore. That's sort of passé now. I mean, they still have reunions. These people still come, and they're adults now, older people. But now we had to really up the game to make it interesting for blind people who go to regular schools to say, hey, I want to go to blind camp, right? That's a big step. That's a big step backwards for some kids. They think, no, I don't want to go to blind camp. I'm happy with my friends, my sighted friends, and my sighted school, my community, and so forth. But so we really had to step it up, and CNIB did, and they see the value of this, of getting kids involved with outdoor stuff. And I've been, I run this other podcast called Outdoors with Lawrence Gunther, and it's really just focused on getting kids interested in outdoor activity and fishing, and becoming a voice for nature and voice for in ecosystems, to give that silent world a voice. And I'll just as for our listeners, Scotty, the CNI, we recently inked a deal to take 7 acres of shoreline, 1,300 feet of shoreline, a crown lease, take it over from another charity, and purchase their 1,700 square foot cabin. It's an off-grid cabin, and we're turning this into a state-of-the-art research center and exploration center for youth of all abilities and backgrounds. And the CNIB, they understand that this is going to be, for me, it's going to be state-of-the-art, accessible for all people with disabilities, all youth with disabilities. And when I was having lunch with the president of the CNIB a couple of weeks ago, and he was telling me about the ad campaign they're working on Lake Joe, and I said, well, that's funny. I said, because we're setting up an off-grid facility ourselves for youth, and I showed him some pictures, and he said, wow, he said, we want to help you with this. So the CNIB has stepped up, and they're going to be a partner with us on this program as well.
Holy smokes, dude!
Yeah, we're very happy.
You've been
We're very
holding
excited.
out on me all this time. I had no idea.
No, it's youth is got to get them when they're young, man. You got to get them when they're young, right?
100%, man.
Yeah.
And as Mark Beeler said, incredible work. Hats off to you, Lawrence, and all those who are involved, participate, volunteer, donate. This is an incredible initiative. Oh,
Yeah.
folks, I didn't even know we were going to be talking about
Me neither.
Wow.
I just thought I put it on there. I just thought, well, we'll just just give a little heads up on some of the youth programs we're running here, the Get Ready for Fishing programs we're running, right, with the IGFA.
Incredible. Well, I hate to say, do you have anything else for us?
Let me just look here. Hang on.
Holy Hannah.
So there's this new UN treaty. Over 200 countries in the United Nations signed this world treaty giving the high seas protection for the first time. So what is the high seas? So it starts 370 kilometers off the coastline of every country. That's our economic zone. There's our actual territory, our border, and then there's the economic zone, which goes out past that, where we have control over the economic activity that takes place in the oceans along our coastlines, up to 370 kilometers off our coastlines. That way, foreign vessels can't just come and fish our marine waters, to extinction, right? But then beyond that, 43% of the Earth's surface is considered covered in by the high seas. So if you think about the Earth itself, 71% of the Earth is covered by ocean. 43% of the Earth's surface is ocean that's just no man's land. No one controls it. No one has authority over it. Anything goes. Anything goes. So now we have a treaty. 200 countries have signed on saying, hey, let's get some rules. Let's get some rules of engagement out there. And is this going to make a difference? So first of all, we have to understand what is happening out there. Just for instance, Pacific salmon spend most of their life out in the high seas. We have no idea what they're doing while they're spending those 2, 3, 4 years out there in the high seas. We have no idea what they're eating, where they're going, what they're living on, what they're encountering. None of that. So we know more about the moon and Mars. So Yeah.
It's so interesting you say that, and it's been said ever since the man landed on the moon. I swear that we know more about what goes on in our solar system than we do under our ocean. But yeah, it's so vast, right? Like how do you spend money to explore our oceans? Not to say that it's easier to get to the moon, because it's not. But have we been back since? And how many times have we? It's almost, once you do it, the need to do it again is sort of gone. Nobody really wants to fund something like that, but I, for one, would love to know more about what's going on in our oceans, especially how our fish are migrating, how pollution is affecting that migration, how water temperatures are affecting migration, forage bases, all that. Because let's face it, people are out fishing it. These big fishing boats, they go out for almost months on end, hauling in all kinds of fish. And, as I said, they may not necessarily be visible on a grid anywhere, but we know they're out there working and doing their thing.
It's true. I'm just looking at this article here about earthquakes. What happens to fish when there's earthquakes and volcanic eruptions, right? We have no idea what happens to the fish. Well, it turns out, so if there's eruption underwater, even on land, nature's fury can wipe out millions of fish. Like if you think about the sonic boom, right? You think about what you throw, we all know these stories of people throwing a hand grenade or stick of dynamite into a pond and all the fish float up. You think about that magnified by many, many thousands.
Yeah.
And so what's happening to the fish when we have this earthquake activity or volcanic activity? We know nothing. We know nothing about that.
Interesting. Very, very interesting. Yeah. Solely outdoors, the same. Man has no interest in what they can't see, ocean depths, etc. I think perhaps I would agree with you. Although now, because technology is starting to advance where we can get down to those depths and we can explore and really we're exploring. We're explorers to a lot of our depths. We're exploring and acknowledging new species of all kinds of fish, invertebrates, what have you. in our oceans. So we are spending a little bit of money, but I would have to agree with Soy Outdoors. We're not as interested in what we can't see as we should be. But needless to say, there's an awful lot of water up there, and I don't know. Maybe one day we'll know.
Well, we know that El Nino is coming back this year. It's been gone for 4 years. So for the last 4 years, we've had La Nino. Sorry, I don't pronounce that well, but basically, yeah. So basically, that's why we've had these sort of wetter summers. Wetter, we've had a lot of moisture, a lot of precipitation, right, over the last 3-4 summers. Windy, rainy, a lot of storms passing through back and forth all the time. So this system is ending. So now we have El Nino, and that's where the surface temperature of the ocean starts to warm up. We stop with the colder water coming up from the bottom and cooling the surface of the ocean. That process that's been going on for 4 years is stopping. So now we're going to start to see a lot more heat being absorbed into the surface of the ocean and staying there. And that's going to create a lot more drier, hotter weather in North America, especially on the northwest side of North America. So I'm just thinking about, is this happening already? We see all these forest fires happening in Alberta, but then again in British Columbia we're seeing a lot of, and California we're seeing a lot of precipitation. So El Nino will have its effect starting in September. That's when we'll start to feel the effect of El Nino. It doesn't happen automatically, but they're saying, stay tuned. When we have super high ocean temperatures on the surface, we get mega hurricanes, right? So this could be a very big hurricane season this fall.
I have heard that. Anybody that follows any of our prognosticators to our south, who are I swear this is their thing. This is all they do all day is forecast. They are saying exactly what Lawrence just mentioned, that this could be potentially a horrendous year when it comes to hurricanes. And to think of the damage that was done down in the Fort Myers and Tampa Bay area last year, just the state of Florida. I don't know if it can take another hit like that. Jeremy has a question. It's interesting, and if you think about it, it's kind of a two-sided question. Now this El Nino, is this nature's way of cleansing itself? There's not a lot of science when it comes to. Everybody understands what it is, but why it is I think what we lack when it comes to the information.
Yeah, like what causes that, right? Like, is it just, the scientific explanation, where we have upwellings that cool, where cold water from the bottom of the ocean comes to the surface and cools the surface, and then the storms are less sort of ferocious, there's less energy, but they're wetter. We've got a lot more wetter type weather. So at some point, maybe, all this water is flowing on the land, and then it goes back in the ocean, and it just starts to warm up, and the process sort of comes to a slowly peters out, right? And then it heats up, and then that warming, excessive hot water, surface water, creates these storms, and then it starts the reverse process again. So you can say. I don't think you're going to have a lot of weather people talking about this because of, people don't want to say, you're denying climate change. But this system, this has been going on for thousands of years, right? This back and forth. It's got nothing to do with climate change. The only thing is that we know the surface temperature of the ocean is hotter now than it's ever been on any record we've been keeping.
Is that right?
Yeah. So we know, and that's not El Nino. That's climate change, right? So this is why this time it could be a little more severe. And we can see these hurricane seasons when we've had El Ninos in the past. The hurricanes have been absolutely, massive and powerful. So we could get more of that again, right? So
True enough.
And some pretty hot summers ahead of us.
Yeah.
Maybe not this summer, but some very hot summers. We've had them before. So if you're thinking of getting check your air conditioner, make sure it's running well and it's serviced, because there could be a shortage of them in a year or so.
Well, I need to lose some weight, so bring on the heat. That's all I can say. We have time for a couple more, Lawrence.
Yeah. Okay, here's something Transport Canada has been doing. Now, Transport Canada, they they're the ones that do the pleasure boat operator certificate, that lovely gift. Now they just did a consultation on outboard motor sound. How noisy are they? Has it been going up? Has it been coming down? They've been talking to cottage owners and shoreline owners, property owners, and people who spend time by the water, maybe some anglers as well. And so the results are in. Basically, outboard motors have not been getting any quieter over the years. We've gone from 2-stroke to 4 strokes. That helped. And I think about my Mercury 175. Man, oh man, like sometimes I don't even know it's on. And my friends on my boat don't even know it's on. It's so quiet.
I was just going to say, I agree 100%.
But it's these smaller 4-strokes, right? These little Tahatsus that are dressed up as Evinrudes and Mercuries and things like that. Those little single cylinder, 5 horsepower, 6 horsepower. Those are little noise machines, right? Those ones haven't got any quieter. So they're saying there's still outboards that could be quieter. They could make them quieter if there was some incentive to do it. I'm not sure where the Transport Canada is going to come out on all this, but that's the message they got, is based on what the feedback they got, the report they wrote, is that outboard motors have not got quieter. Jet skis have gotten quieter, bigger motors have gotten quieter for sure, bigger outboards, beautiful, the 4 strokes, what's gone on with that. It's just amazing technology. But it's these little cheaper kind of, putt-putts that are still sort of pissing people off.
Interesting.
And Transport Canada is going to do another one. The consultation hasn't started yet, but it's coming up, and it's going to be on PFDs. And they're going to talk about, should people be wearing these all the time in boats? I think that's they're going to ask that question and hear what people have to think. And
I think it's just going to be like seatbelts. I honestly believe there is going to come a day where we will be wearing them all the time. So
yeah. Could be, because you think about how many people fall out of boats and drown, right?
Yep.
And they're never wearing their PFDs. Right?
100%.
So, yeah.
Yep. You get it. We got time for one more, Lawrence.
Oh yeah, because the most popular food source, right, is fish. We all eat more fish. 2 billion people survive on fish, but and I mentioned this before, buddy, but COPI, right? COPI for copious, and that is the new sort of fashionable term for fish. That's fish fillets and fish that's being harvested from big head, silver carp, black carp, grass carp. These fish are apparently delicious. They're apparently delicious.
It's funny you say that, because down, I want to say it was in Mississippi. They were, food, Louisiana, Mississippi, that whole area is just incredible with all of their incredible dishes. But they did do, it was a sponsored event. I want to say it was on the World Fishing Network, where they were looking at some invasive, undesirable species, and one of which was I believe it was the lionfish down in Florida.
Oh yeah.
They had some chefs do, some samples of cuisine with the lionfish. As poison as it is, apparently it's delicious. But they also did this with the carp, and I think they had probably 20 chefs that put together these incredible dishes, and they were delicious, to say the absolute least.
Yeah.
So they have a palate. I don't want to say they have a purpose, because I know there's going to be a lot of people out there that are going to get angry when I say that. Wow. But they have a purpose in the sense that we need to expose that, exploit that, and take advantage of it. So perhaps maybe we can do our own culling, our own protection of allowing their migration to not have to end up in the Great Lakes, to not have to end up, in waters that we don't want. But no, 100%.
Stop treating them like trash. Or just nasty bits of light that you can shoot with arrows and club with clubs and just destroy with no value. No angler wants to see anyone beat a fish to death and just throw it overboard, right? We cringe when we see that happening to fish we love by people who don't know better. And so I think we shouldn't have these sort of situational ethics where we can say, oh yeah, but for carp, for these types of carp, beat the crap out of them. No one wants to see him in the Great Lakes. That's for sure.
Carp cakes, yes, Jeremy, you're right. They were doing carp cakes. It was incredible. They had all kinds of different. They had like gumbo. They had anyway. Needless to say, I don't know.
Fish tacos apparently were amazing.
Yeah, they were on there as well.
Yeah.
I forget what the documentary was, but it was really interesting. And as I said, if you love eating fish, it was hard not to go grab some munchies after it because it all looked absolutely delicious.
Well, there you go. Now everyone get some of your fish batter on there, man, and we're good to go. But let's not. No one put these into the Great Lakes thinking that's a good idea.
100%.
Yeah.
Lawrence, as always, my friend, thanks so much for stopping by and sharing what has been an incredible amount of information and just a heart-wrenching and heartwarming initiative that's going on in Lake Joseph that I thought I was aware of, but not to the extent that you just explained. And of course, if anyone did not hear this tonight on CFN and of course Scotty's Outdoors, please go over to Bluefish Canada and Bluefish Radio, where you can hear this podcast again, presented to all of the masses that follow you, Lawrence, from a Lawrence Gunther Outdoors perspective. But
you can hear it over your smart speaker. Just say, hey, whatever, play the Bluefish Radio Show, and you'll hear Scotty and me doing this while you're cleaning the kitchen or whatever you're doing. Yeah.
Beautiful stuff, dude. Listen, thanks so much for spending yet another Monday with us, dude. Keep up the great work and good luck.
You too, buddy.
On the front lawn. Sounds like you got your work cut out for you.
Oh my God, 6 cubic yards of topsoil coming tomorrow. Oh my goodness. Gotta move that around.
Well, dude, you take care of yourself. You have a great week, and we look forward to seeing you again next Monday.
Thanks, buddy.
We got Moose and Mike right after this.
What is Flash Boost? Shimano designed innovative Flash Boost technology. It keeps flashing, which attracts fish whether in a pause or while retrieving. The mirror plate, which is fixed by a spring inside the body, vibrates with the lure action to generate diffuse reflection. Even if you stop the lure action, the inner plate will move and continue to flash, giving the lure a sense of life and inviting a fish bite. This is Flash Boost.
And this is Moose, Mike, and Scotty. Yeah, baby.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, what's happening?
How you doing, brother?
I'm all right. A little tired. Michael, how are you?
Doing well, especially now with seeing your two faces. I'm doing even better.
Mike, big shout out to you, buddy. Thanks for taking the helm. You helped out in a huge way. I never expected it to happen, but it does. Duty calls, and you stepped up, but I can't thank you enough for that.
I was cutting the grass, listening to CFN Live, and then I hear a phone ring. Scotty had to go, and I ran upstairs.
You're the best, buddy. You are the best. The Gearson threesome. Yeah, we've been called worse, Jeremy. I'll take it.
Right.
Gents, what brings us together? There's lots that brings us together. And of course, I can't, the most important, YOLO Tech. Yeah, baby. What's going on with YOLO Tech?
Oh, so during the tournament, we might have a YOLO Tech moment. And if you are the lucky person to be involved in that YOLO Tech moment, you're going to win a YOLO Tech.
Tell me, what is that YOLO Tech?
It is a powered pole, my friend. So basically, power runs up this pole. You plug in your camera, you mount it to the top, and away you go. Always recording, always on the ball. It's basically a powered pole for your boat.
Oh.
Anywhere you can plug this guy in. Oh. Boom. This is my old one. So I got 2 of them. I tried to destroy it. It's indestructible. Still works great. It's a true story, actually. It's fallen off the boat because I didn't mount it properly. I've tripped over it on the boat. I've fallen onto it.
You threw a windshield at it.
Yeah, my poor boat. But she's doing good. She's in the driveway now.
So the tournament that you speak of, Moose, it wouldn't be this one, the OFC Nation charity tournament. in conjunction with CSFL and the one and only Lunker Bowl, would it?
That is. So we've been working on this for a little while. Michael, can you please tell some folks, because I've gotten 30 or 40 phone calls, and I've tried to explain the My Catch thing. It's very simple. It's an app. Mike, take it away. Talk to us about the My Catch app.
All right. So the charity tournament will be a photo tournament, and we're looking for the longest pike. So the fastest, most efficient way for you to submit your pike is through the My Catch app. What's amazing about it is once you take your photo, our judging team will get that right away, and then we could verify the length, verify it's a pike, and then upload it to the leaderboard. So while you're fishing, if you look at the app, you'll be like, oh, 36-inch pike, that's what I have to beat. And then if another pike comes up that's 40 inches, oh, now that's what I have to beat. So you'll know exactly what the leaderboard is once it comes in and once we verify it. And the only thing you have to do is two things. One, go to anglersatlas.com, open an account, it's free, and then download the My Catch app, and then find the OFC Nation Charity Bowl, register for the event, and you're good to go. It'll take less than 5 minutes, but all you have to do, create an account, download the app, register for the event. Easy peasy. We suggest doing it prior to, practice with the app. There's a video we could show you as well, or you could do it the morning of, but all you got to do is those 3 steps and away you go.
Yeah. So even with that being said, there is a early bird prize. So if you do go online and you go to the Anglers Atlas website, if you haven't been there yet, just poke around. That website's fantastic. A ton of information. It's really, really cool. I highly recommend poking around on the website. Downloading the app is as simple as downloading any app out there. You log in. It'll ask you, do you want to log in with like your Facebook or your Google or your this or your that? 3 or 4 questions and boom, you're in. And the app itself, it's very simple. You'll see like current events. So there'll be like upcoming events, and then there'll be past events. So you just click on upcoming events. You select the CSFL OFC Nation charity tournament, and that graphic will be up there. And then once you get there, the morning of, everybody who's registered, everybody who's downloaded the app ahead of time, we're going to pick one person out of a draw, out of a hat, and that person will win the early bird prize. And then all you do is you hit a button, and that button says, what is it, My Trip or Start Trip?
Start trip.
Start trip. So you start trip and you go do your thing. As soon as you catch a fish, you literally hit photo, you take the picture, submit, you can add a comment, you can add a live release video, you could do all kinds of stuff with it. It's a very, very, very cool app, and I'm new to it, and I found it very user-friendly. So we will have an instruction, like a little slip that sort of gives you a step-by-step. Once you've registered in the morning, we're going to have a quick little chat before everybody takes off, but we'll give you one of those slips, and you can head out to your favorite fishing hole, your favorite spot, and you can download the app as you go. But we highly recommend getting it before to register for the early bird prize.
Awesome. And Sonia is asking, Mike, you might be the one to answer this. Make sure to use the same email. Is it important that you use one email and one email only?
So it depends how many accounts you have on the Anglers Atlas site. So if you only have one username, one account, then you only have that one email. But if you have multiple accounts, just make sure when you register for the event, you're using the same login information as you did when you registered for the event.
Yeah. Now keep in mind too, if there's multiple people on the boat, there'll be multiple submissions. So Mike, can you talk to us about how to take the photo of the fish and why we do it the way we do it?
Yeah. So the app is awesome because we'll know exactly who's in the tournament, you're fishing on Balsam Lake, and when you caught it, and then we could verify it right away. So regardless if 100 anglers are fishing at the same time, we'll know exactly who caught it, the time you caught it, and we could verify it. And then you'll get, every time you log on to the app, you'll see exactly where you stand in terms of the length of your pike. Super easy. If you know how to use a camera phone, you know how to use the app. The only difference is instead of pressing your camera, you're pressing the My Catch icon on your phone. It'll pop up the camera. You take the photo and you put in the length, and then you send it away. And then our judging team will get it, verify it, and then it'll show up. And what's great about it is it'll show all your catches. So if you catch 12 pike that day, it'll show all your catches and all your lengths.
So somebody asked me earlier on, late last week, actually, how are you going to be able to tell if one person's, ruler is bigger than another person's ruler? Nobody's using rulers. We're giving y'all a measuring tape. Everybody's going to get the same measuring tape, and you're going to use that measuring tape to measure the fish. So the measuring tape they're all going to be the same. And you've got to take the picture of the right side of the fish. Is that correct, Mike?
Yeah. So to make sure the fish is only measured once, you have to take the fish right side down. When you open the app, it'll have an outline of the fish. It'll show the tail. It'll show the nose of the fish. So just follow that outline, and you don't even have to remember. Just line up the outline of the fish with your fish, and it's good to go. There's a question here from Steve Shaw about data. Even if you don't have data on your phone, the app works. And then once you come in, and you could tether from one of us at the station or at the booth, and all your catches are logged, even if you don't have data. And then once you get data, or you tether from someone who has data, all your stuff will be uploaded. So even if you don't have data, you could still use the app, and you just have to get into a zone that has Wi-Fi for it all to be uploaded.
And now if you're doing both tournaments, both the OC Nation tournament and the CSFL tournament, keep in mind the CSFL tournament is by weight. So you can bring in a pike every hour and potentially win a whole bunch of money. And our tournament is by length. So first, second, and third length will win an incredible prize pack. And speaking of prize packs, I have an update on the goodie bag. The goodie bag is officially at a $75 value.
So Moose, that means I register for $75. I get a goodie bag for $75.
Yes, sir.
And an amazing day fishing with friends.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And it doesn't stop there, because we're going to continuously throw stuff into the goodie bag. Today's delivery was from our good friends at Power Pro. Where is it here? Oh, I lost it. But there's a box. So there's going to be some Power Pro. So everybody's going to get a spool of Power Pro in the goodie bags, along with, I don't know where the box is. It was right behind me. Some Jackal Rhythm Waves. So, the rods are in. So here's the rods. Here's the reels. Boom, boom, boom. This is what you're competing for, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages. We got one SLX. We got an Ultegra. We got another SLX. And some rods and lots of goodies. A ton of stuff to give away. It's going to be a boatload of fun. You guys don't want to miss this. I know originally we had said, let's get people to register early and before and this, that, and the other thing, so we have an idea of how many people are going to show up. I'm fairly confident we're going to have over 60 people there, so you guys don't want to miss it. Food, music, fun, fishing. It's going to be a blast.
Right on, Moose. We have a question from Soli's Outdoors. Moose, what is parking and launching?
Parking and launching. Parking, from what I know, parking's free. It's down at Pride of Balsam. There's tons of parking along the road. The boat launch is a public boat launch. So, there's no charge for parking and launching.
Right on. Tony's got a question, and I'm not sure if Tony's going to make it all the way down from Sault Ste. Marie, but my question is about the available internet when going fishing. Hitting the start trip, will it or will it not work without internet?
It will.
So even if you don't have internet at any point, you could open the app. So if I'm in a deep, dark dungeon, no internet, I open the app, I start the trip, and anything that's logged is saved on your phone, and it's automatically uploaded once you get Wi-Fi or data.
Yeah. Did you guys know you don't need data in order to use your GPS. So GPS is GPS. You don't need data for it. What you do need data for is all the frills that come along with GPS. So yeah, no, the app will work just fine. If some of these new GPS maps and apps, you have to have data, but if you can find an old GPS map app, it actually still works with no data. I don't know if you guys knew that.
Like for instance, what about like you're talking about, like say Waze? Waze doesn't use data?
Waze uses a ton of data.
I was gonna say, yeah, I thought.
No, Waze uses a ton of data, but I have a phone that is not connected to any network or anything, and I can turn on maps. I haven't done it in a while, but I think it was actually Yahoo Maps is what it was, and it still worked. And because it's basically just pinging GPS, it's not using data. Now it wouldn't give me any traffic updates or restaurants and phone numbers and this, that, and the other thing. But as far as a GPS unit to get your location and get your bearings, GPS works as GPS. It has nothing to do with your data.
Interesting. Did not. Yep.
Well, actually, if you use your iPhone maps, so I'm at home, I use my iPhone maps, and then I get into the car, I can turn off my data and it'll still take me there as long as I load it with Wi-Fi. But with the app, it's different. You don't need Wi-Fi at any point. You only need it when you upload.
Yeah, makes sense. Solely outdoors, like your fish finders, 100%.
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly it. We don't have data on our fish finders, right? Yeah. Some people just didn't grasp that concept, and I know when I came across it, I was like, "Whoa!"
Yeah, I for one was one of those guys that thought you needed data as well. So yeah, perfect. Solis, thanks for pointing out the obvious. Well, if there aren't any more questions about the CSFL Lunker Bowl or the OFC Nation Charity Cup, Mike, it is time to talk about what is just around the corner also, and that is the CFN FishOFF.
Oh, Mooch, you got to stay, man, because we got some big prize reveals.
Yeah, I see that.
Now,
I've heard.
As long as you're fishing anytime from Victoria Day to Canada Day, you might as well register because it's free and you can win a whole bunch of prizes. So I know everyone out there, you've got to be fishing within those 6 weeks. So download the app, register, because every week we're going to have a draw. So we're going to have 6 weeks of draws, and that's any fish you catch puts you into that draw. So there might be a kid out there and says, this week I'm going to catch 50 perch. That's 50 ballots into our Shimano Symmetry draw. No matter what fish you catch, no matter what species, it's just as many fish as you want to put in that particular week will give you a ballot into our Symmetry draw. So easy, Scotty, to participate.
100%, dude. 100%. And out there, and just before we go on with the prizes, I want to say a big shout out, thank you to Shimano, who has really stepped up this year at the prizes. I was talking to Bob again today. He saw your post, Mike, and he's like, wait a minute, Scotty, I listen, we got a truckload of stuff coming to you, but I don't know anything about a Sedona reel. So what's that all about? Well, you know what, Bob, we already have that. So it's all good.
That came from the CFN safe.
Yeah. 100%.
That's crazy. That's crazy how he noticed that. Like, you're right, Scotty. He's on the ball with everything.
Big time.
Now we got a kids prize pack. Kids prize pack works over those 6 weeks. If you're 17 and under, or you're fishing with a kid 17 and under, any fish they catch is a ballot into the draw. I could see a kid catching 500 fish and putting 500 ballots over those 6 weeks. And that will give you a next save combo. I haven't felt or used one of these before, Scotty, but they look sharp.
So the combo, I don't know if it existed, and Moose, you might be able to quote me on this, but or correct me on this, but the next save reel has always been around. They have improved it because obviously, I think it was 2-3 years ago, Mike, when we were giving them out with the Celis, everyone in 4 they were having problems. They were sticking, what have you. The folks at Shimano heard this, they fixed it, and as you can tell, this reel doesn't look anything like the old one, but they've teamed it up with the next save rod, which what I've heard, this combo as an entry-level combo is the one to get. Its price point is fantastic for an entry-level combo that still has what you're looking for when you're purchasing Shimano product.
Yep. Colby's got a next save rod. We bought them last year. We were at Ganyon's, and they only had one left. I would compare that rod to the Compre walleye. To me, they feel very similar. It's a very nice rod, and paired up with the reel, it looks super sharp. That reel is super sexy. I'm not gonna lie. For the price point, for all the components that are in it, it is they've revamped the whole reel from inside and out. I don't have any of the details in front of me. I should memorize this stuff, but it is worth its weight in gold for sure.
All right, Sonia, I'm going to get to your question because that is a good question.
Great question.
But, people say, "Oh, I don't have that many species. I live in Saskatchewan," or I only have access to one body of water because I don't have a car. I only have a bike. But this allows you, whether it's the weekly draw or the kids draw, this allows you to catch any species as many times as you want to get as many ballots as you want. Now, for those hardcore anglers that want to challenge themselves, if you catch at least 5 different species, that will get you into our Sidonia draw. So any 5 species gives you 1 ballot into this draw. If you catch 10 species, that'll give you 2 ballots into this draw. So try to catch as many species as possible. And for this one, as long as it is 8 inches or over, that qualifies you for that species.
Cool.
10 species prize pack. If you get 10 species, that gives you an opportunity to win a NASCI reel right there. So, if you get 10 species, that automatically gives you 2 ballots into our 5 species draw, but that gives you 1 ballot into our NASCI draw. And then really want to challenge yourself. Well, you got one there?
Yeah. So I do have the new one in a box coming. This is the old one, but you want to talk about an overhaul? The old one, this is what, 2 years ago I bought this reel.
Scotty loves that reel.
Amazing. I love this reel. And if you look at my lineup, I've got 6 or 7 of them. And then they revamped it. I'm like, it can't get any better. What do you mean you revamped it? What do you mean you made it better? Yeah, they did for sure. But this reel is definitely, this is like Old Faithful. This is like your go-to. It's a perfect all-around reel. And I didn't think it can get any better, but it definitely has a little bit more smoother. The drag system, everything about it was perfect, and they made it better. I don't know how, but they did for sure. But the NASCI reels are definitely something you want in your arsenal.
Couldn't have said it better myself, Moose. 100%.
All right.
10 species?
That's 10 species. But if you go 15 species, that will give you 3 ballots automatically into our 5 species draw. That'll give you 1 ballot automatically into our 10 species draw. But you get another ballot into our 15 species prize pack. And I haven't used one of these, but I've seen reviews, and I hear the Miraval is the bomb.
It is, yeah. Just from what Bob has said, and anybody else who knows these reels inside and out, the Miraval is one of those reels that's just under the Vanford and just above the NASCI. It is, as Moose said, if you are looking for an all-purpose reel that has all of the good things that you're looking for from Shimano, with the price point, this is the reel. Mm-hmm. As much as I love my NASCIs, I have been told, Scotty, you might want to look at this reel because it is the real deal.
Mm-hmm.
So 15 species. And you know what? We don't just have one Miraval, but we have total length. You can get a ballot into the Miraval. So how the total length worth is any 12 species, you add up the total length of your longest fish across 12 species. And this one's not a draw. This is like, I am the best multi-species angler in Canada because I've caught the longest total length across 12 species, and you could win a Miraval right there. Or you might say, you know what? I can catch 2,000 fish. And so this is any combined fish. You can get 500 perch plus 300 bluegill plus 30 crappie. Any combined number of fish that will give you the champion of the most fish prize pack. And it is saltwater and freshwater for Solely Outdoors, who is asking. So again, we got 1 Miraval, we got 2 Miravals, we got 3 Miravals to give away and different ways to participate. And our last Miraval, 4 Miravals to give away. every species will have the biggest length. So if I have the longest largemouth bass, that'll give me a ballot into this draw. If I have the longest pike, that'll give me a ballot into this draw. I want to try to catch the longest fish of each species. That'll give me the most ballots into our last Mirabelle draw. And this is like the most reels we've ever given away, Scotty.
That's amazing.
I can't say enough about Shimano, and what we aren't pulling the cover off just yet. And I don't know, are we doing the reveal tonight, Mike?
Yeah, that's the last slide I have.
Fantastic, because the big surprise is still yet to come. We're going to task you with a little bit of work. You're going to have to do a little bit of work in order to qualify, but it ain't much. And anybody who has fished in the FishOFF before understand the importance of show your Shimano. And we'll get to that later. But when you find out that prize, I think that will tip the scales. Everybody will want to become a FishOFFer after that.
Is
So
this
like Scotty said,
the week out on the water with Scotty? 6 nights, 7 days.
Well, you know what? I'm going to have to book
Could you
that
imagine?
Moose. I'll tell you, I don't know when Scotty's going to get out in the water. The way things are going. No, absolutely. It is, as I said, I'm grinning ear to ear only because of what we're able to give back to our community. And the good folks at Shimano have stepped up in a huge way. Can't wait to reveal it. Can't wait to let you guys know what's involved in it. But yeah, it's a cool prize. Really, really cool prize.
so our last prize is another draw. And all you have to do to qualify for that draw is every time you submit a fish, hold your fish and show a Shimano product. So you could show your hoodie, you could show a reel, maybe you have a hat like Moose and Scotty. So you're just going to show your Shimano, say, hey, this is my Shimano reel, post it on Facebook. This one is all on Facebook. We want you to share as many fish and as many Shimano products as you have. And if you catch 50 perch, you could show the same reel every single time. That gives you 50 ballots into our show your Shimano draw. So over that 6 weeks, post as many videos on Facebook as you can so that the other members of our community can also get involved. But this is the prize, Scotty. I don't even have one of these.
Oh, you're going to do the reveal. You're doing it now?
Yeah, we're doing it right now.
No, I thought you were going to wait. You're going to do it right now? No,
Do it right now.
Okay.
We've revealed every prize so far, including from our Symmetry all the way to our Mirabelle. But our show, your Shimano prize, is a Stratic FL.
Woo! Bingo bango. Wow.
Yeah, that is a sexy. That's a sexy reel right there.
Yeah. Amen.
Yep. So 100%.
I don't have it. I wish I could win it.
I don't have it. Nope.
That is a Stratic FL.
Nope, I don't have it. No, but I'll tell you, I'm thrilled that we're able to give it away to somebody. As I said, when that came out of Bob's mouth, I'm like, what? No way, a Stratic? Come on. Yeah. So needless to say, if you aren't a FishOFFer today, you will be by the end of the show or tomorrow. And as I said, all you have to do is show your Shimano. It's show my Shimano. # show my Shimano. And
Do I win?
there you go. First ballot entry.
How sweet is that, Moose?
This is the HG. This is
Okay.
the HG, not the FL. But it is a very, very nice reel. I was a fan of the original Stratic. I'm an even bigger fan of the new one. So
Beautiful. Right on.
Yeah, super light. I hear super smooth. The drag is like butter, and look how beautiful it is.
speaking of Shimano products, so I was out. I'm a shopper. Y'all know this. I like stuff. So we took the little one out to Kumon. She had like this Kumon thing that was happening, whatever it is. And I decided to go to the dollar store. So I'm roaming around the dollar store. I'm looking for containers. I'm trying to be more organized. And we all know that from time to time, you can find some gems at the dollar store, right? We've all seen the fillet knife, the Shimano fillet knife at Dollarama. We all have them. There is now a Shimano Power Pro braid scissors, and good sized ones.
I have them.
Do you really? I just seen them today. I bought 6.
And it comes with a little pouch, right?
It comes with a little pouch, yeah. So Power Pro, Shimano Power Pro braid scissors. Wish I had them here. They're in the car. yeah, that was kind of a cool find. I didn't think that the dollar store carried their fishing section is starting to evolve. I wouldn't say it's the best, but it's evolving.
100%. I actually went to buy, because I had said this to Steve, when we have these shows, when we have these events and what have you, I want to make sure that we have some stuff to give away to the kids. So I went to Treasure Hunt, which is much like the dollar store, same idea. They had Berkeley twister tails on 75% off.
Yeah.
Dude, I pulled like 70 bags of Power Pro, grubs for less than $2 a piece, a bag. It was incredible.
Yeah. There's always something to be found. You know what I mean? Obviously, some of the hooks may not be the greatest. Just saying, you're not gonna, don't use them during a tournament, maybe. But there is always like little hidden gems, and the kids love that. You know what I mean? Like,
100%.
they're gonna throw it and wrap it around a tree, or something's gonna happen to it. Costs you $1.25, $2 taxes and sort of thing.
Yeah.
But there's if you guys are looking for braid scissors, the Shimano Power Pro braid scissors are available at your Dollarama just down the street. Come on down. Lots in stock.
So, Scotty, just to wrap up, last time I checked, there was over 150 anglers signed up. So all you got to do is go to anglersatlas.com/events. It's free. You're going to be fishing anyways during those 6 weeks. You might as well show your Shimano. You might as well enter your fish, because you can catch this array. You can win this array of reels from Shimano. So thank you, Shimano. And go ahead, go to anglersatlas.com/events and register today.
That's
awesome.
Fantastic.
Right on. So we do have food. Crew Chief is going to be providing food at the OFC Nation Charity Cup. And of course, to all those who are in the Lunker Bowl, we're going to do our best to do a fish fry. We're going to have dogs, of course, and hamburgers. So I want a big shout out to Crew Chief for helping us with that. But in the meantime, as I said, make sure you register, because it's right around the corner. It's not this weekend, but next weekend that we're going to be down by the water. It's going to be so awesome to see all of our friends and folks that are part of our community that support us. But just to get out on the water, spend a little bit of time, hook a giant or two, and come back and stuff your belly. It's.
I'll be there. Scotty will be there. Moose will be there. Come join us.
100%.
Is it pet friendly? Well, Moose is going to be there, so I hope so.
Yeah, absolutely. It's pet friendly. We're all dog lovers. And some of us are cat lovers, and bring them down. Come on down.
Good to see you too. We'll probably talk backstage, but I did promise Brian and oh my good Lord, Christine. Geez, sorry, Christine, that I would play this video at the outset as an outro. I put this together on Sunday. I want you folks, for all that are watching, watch this video. This is yet another incredible initiative that is going on within our community. Lawrence talked about the blind and the deaf that has been going up in Lake Joseph, which I had no idea it was. This is yet another. Folks, have yourself a great week. Thanks so much for joining us. I love you all. Stay safe and enjoy the rest of the show. Peace. Nice to see you again, Christine. Hope you've been well.
Yes, I have. Yeah, it's a good time of year for me. I love the spring. I love pan fishing. I'm in my happy place right now.
Awesome. Now, your regular job has you going into some interesting places and meeting some interesting people. How does fishing help with that?
It's I say it all the time. The only reason I'm able to do my job and stay well at work is because of fishing. I used to work in the federal system as a registered nurse in the acute care unit. I was a trained crisis negotiator, doing inmate transfers across the country, doing investigations. My job was crazy. And unfortunately that job injured me, but I've, through treatment and through fishing, I have recovered enough where I'm back working in the provincial penitentiary, or the provincial jail system now. And I'm working as a team leader on the trauma unit with, mentally ill offenders, and it's not an easy job. And my head spins at the end of the day. However, I get to go fishing and I get to do it as much as I can. And, I have great days that are so good that they can carry me through for a couple weeks if I can't get out. But fishing is the reason I can do my job, stay mentally well, sleep well at night. I want to stay healthy. It keeps me sane for my family. It's everything.
100%. And as most of us have just finished up a hard water season, I know some folks out in our west are still enjoying what is left of their hard water season, but this was your recent hard water season. You've had many people out on the water. I don't know if these were actually planned events or these were just day trips, but needless to say, everybody seems to have a good time. And as we can see here, they catch fish.
Yeah, we do both. So we do individual sessions, my partner Dave and I. So I do more of the therapy. If somebody needs to go out and, whether they've had an injury or they're trying to prevent an injury, if they're in a stressful position, of course we focus on first responders. So I do that, whereas my partner is more if somebody, just wants to learn to fish for self-care and doesn't have those skills, he steps up more in that regard. Or some people just want to learn how to run a boat or a trailer, or, we do that stuff. And then now we've kind of run into where we're organizing 3 events a year. I think we're going to focus on a bass tournament. We're going to run every fall in September on Charleston Lake. We're going to have our yearly ice fishing event, and that we were able to run it on Elbow Lake, just north of Kingston, and it's a Queen's-owned facility. So it's a private lake. They're actually conducting bass research, so we were able to catch bass through the ice, and they were tagged and measure them and all that stuff to help with their Queen's research, all in the name of research. And then we're going to have our pan fishing event that's coming up this Saturday. So these events are just a way for us to have community members come in and volunteer, have first responders come and meet us, see what we're all about. It's a kind of an easygoing environment just to come and try it out. So pan fishing, we're going to have some people out in boats. Some people can just come and shore fish. It always involves food and barbecues and fish fries that we can catch. So we like this stuff. However, we it costs money, and this is where we have some fundraising efforts we do, and we've been very lucky to have a fishing community that we do that see the need to formalize fishing as a therapy.
Couldn't have said it better myself. And just before we went to do this recording, you had asked me a question, in regards to everything that you do, Scotty. Is there ever a time that you feel like, you've just had enough? And I'll be honest with you, my answer is probably going to be the same as yours. And we're going to be talking to Brian up shortly. But if it wasn't for the support of family, those diehard friends that are always at your beck and call, or always at your side, always, concerned that you're too busy or what have you. And those that are doing things on the inside that perhaps maybe a lot of folks don't know, like our editing team. I can't say enough about those two, Walter and Steve, who help us. So I'm sure you're no different. I am just almost taken back every time I speak to you ladies from OWA and how busy you are with all of your functions. Having said that, though, we're going to be bringing Brian up here shortly, and he is just one of your many go-to friends and allies here in the industry. Tell us a little bit about him.
So Brian, I discovered Brian through a CFN Live, where I was watching, and I'm a regular viewer, and I saw he was on there talking about raising money for Muskie and focusing his attention on kids. And so right away, without knowing him, I was like, I need to know this guy because he's a good person and he's in it for the right reasons. And I could tell that just by his interview with you. So I actually went ahead and added him on Facebook, and I discovered we had a lot of mutual friends. His cousin and son and my son are best friends. Like, it was a small world, right? So we're very different in the fish that we target. He's obviously a big fish guy. I'm a little fish person, but we are both here because fishing has helped us, and Brian has, told me what it's done for his mental wellness, and we just connected right away in terms of we fish for our wellness and because it makes us happy, and we love to bring that happiness to other people.
So I have to ask, it seems very obvious to anyone who's listening to this that this has become a cooperative effort between Burning Baits and Mindful Fishing. But what we're going to find out in this recording is how that partnership could possibly benefit those who want to get involved, or those who might want to just donate?
So basically, last year I got in with Christine. She did her bass tournament on Charleston Lake in September, and it was something that I wanted to get out and do. And the way it made me feel at the end made me realize that this is something that I gotta help with.
I know you have a huge heart, Brian. So tell us, when it comes to mindful fishing, what is it that you're prepared to do to help out with this incredible cause?
So what I'm going to do is I'm going to give away 5 half-day trips for kids 8 to 18. It's going to be like a raffle. The way to get in is going to be donations to Mindful Fishing. And then we're also going to give away a full-day trip for somebody that's 18 and older. Also donations towards Mindful Fishing.
Christine, one other question I would like to ask you, because just outside of perhaps maybe this initiative and other events that you're hosting and holding, maybe somebody would like to maybe spend some time out on the water, maybe spend, a few hours just forgetting, wetting a line, or just enjoying the outdoors. As much as this initiative that we're talking about with Brian is really, really cool, and I'm so proud that CFN's a part of it, I want this message to get out to other people that there is this kind of therapy that is available. And how do we get a hold of you?
Right now I've been very, very lucky that we've been able to do it through word of mouth. Dave works in the correctional system still. I've worked with police and federal and provincial, and so a lot of it has been word of mouth. But of course, I keep my Facebook page public, my Instagram public. I am pretty open to leaving my cell phone number on there on any of our event pages. And Dave Empey he's open. You can find him easily too. Of course, right now we are working on a website, because I think it's important. When I've had psychologists and doctors say, we've heard about your program. We've had other people come to us and have benefited from it. How do we refer people to you? So we're looking at that, where there might be more of a referral process, or just a website where people can kind of come and creep us out, see what we're about, see, our history, what upcoming events we have. I know I need that, but it's also, I'm a nurse, not a website designer.
Mindful fishing is something that is definitely near and dear to my heart. It is to yours. We wish you nothing but the best with that. And of course, Brian, for basically being the catalyst to get this all started, approaching me to do this video, but tip of the hat to you as well. And of course, your heart's in the right place. Yeah. So not enough to be said about you as well, my friend.
Thank you, sir. I really appreciate you having us on here and letting us broadcast through your huge following that you have. It's amazing. It just being able to sit here and chat with you guys is great. So,
well, I will say on behalf of CFN and everyone else who loves what you're doing and appreciates all the hard work, we say thank you and keep up the great work and be safe and good luck.
Thank you.
Thank you, Scotty.